Hello, everyone. So, in the previous session, we learned about how to debug your app in the Android Studio. So, today we are going to learn how to test your application, Android application. How you are going to test your application. So, why the testing is necessary? So, you feel that you have developed an app where you have installed on your device, so it's work well and good for your particular device, so it's okay, it's done, it's very good. So it's not the thing like that. You need to test your app before going in for a live. So why? Because it may change for device to device, or the user perspective, or for example, you have been developed an app where it has been published. After that, you will make some of the changes in your application and you again re-upload it. So what happens whether it is working or not for all the users? So that's why testing is necessary for each of your app what you will be developing. Okay. So what is this about testing means? Writing and running test is a critical part. So as it is, uh, well, testing is a part of software development process, as we know that, right? So as we know, testing will be a part of our software development process. So here, there is in Android, there is a philosophy, software development philosophy, that is test-driven development, TDD, where it places test at core of all software development for an application or service. So what is this? We will see here. So test your code can help you catch issues. So why you are going to do a test? So by unknowingly, if you have any mistakes or anything issues are there in your development process, so by testing it, we will come to know what issues are there, how to rectify. So we need to rectify those. And also one more thing for doing the testing is it improves the robustness of your application. Okay, see why? So if your app is larger and more complex application, so then your robustness is very important. Okay, robustness is very important. So testing will help you to catch issues, and also it will help you to improve the robustness of your code. So what are the different types of testing? So in the Android Studio supports two basic forms of testing, that is local unit test and instrumented test. Local unit test and instrumented test. So what is this local unit test? So it means that the test which what test we are going to conduct, what test we are going to compile. So that is going to run entirely on the local machine with the JVM. Okay, that will be entire test will be done on the local machine with the JVM, that is Java Virtual Machine. What is this instrumented test? So this test will be running on your Android device or the emulator. Okay, it's an Android device or the emulator. This test will instrumented test will going to be text based. So let's see what is this local unit test. So where this local unit test, it's a part of your application. So where this test is not going to access the Android framework or the any device or any emulator. So this test will be done on your local machine. So what does this test will do? So if we use this local unit test, it is going to minimize the time of your test and have no Android framework. So if there is you are not going to be use any Android framework, so it will be uh, test will be minimized. So minimum execution will time will be taken. Okay. So if at the runtime, see what happens if you use this test at the runtime, these tests are executed against a modified version of Android jar. So it will be executed against the modified version of Android.jar. Okay. So what about the instrumented tests? So this, as I said, this instrumented test will run on Android device or emulator. Okay. So where these tests have an access to Android framework, whereas local unit test will not be having an access to Android framework, whereas the instrumented test will have an access to Android framework and instrumentation information. and also have a access to the instrumentation information, such as the what apps contacts we will be using. Those contacts will be accessed. Okay, so this instrumented test for unit testing. This instrumented test, you can use it for unit testing, UI testing, that is user interface testing, or integrated testing, or you can also use make sure that the components of your app interacting correctly or not. For that purpose, we can use. Okay, so most commonly, this instrumented test will be using for UI testing, where it allows you to test that your particular application, whether it is behaving correctly or not when a user interacts. So it means that for your application, whatever the application you have been developed for that application, if the user interacts with that application, okay, or any activities on that particular application, whether that particular app is behaving correctly or not. That's why we use instrumentation testing for unit UI test. Okay, mainly instrumented tests are used for UI testing. So next, so where this will be present? So whatever, so when you create an Android Studio, you will that project file will be created. So within the project file, there will be a module name. So within that module name, there will be a source. Within that source, there will be a test folder. Within that test folder, there will be a Java folder. So I will show you an example. So where this test will be located. So local test means, so in the Android Studio, as you see, this is a local test. This is an instrumented test. So where this file location will be located. So as you see in this device, so for example, I have taken this as a calculator application where it will be stored. So in the C drive, so users in the Android Studio projects, so calculator, this is a module name, app, SRC, here. This is a local test. This is a instrumented test. So within the test, Java form package name will be there. So this is the local test. Okay. So what will be the instrumented test? This is an instrumented test. This will be the instrumented test. This is how it will be located. Okay. So next is unit testing. So this will be the fundamental test of your application. Whatever the application you will do, this will be the fundamental testing. Okay. So by creating and running unit test on the app, on the code what you have been written, so we can verify that logic of individual function code areas and unit is correct. So by using this unit testing, so if you create this test and run this test on the code what you have been written, so based on that you can verify the logic of individual function code, where you can verify the logic of each function code. Okay, so running unit test after every build helps you to catch and fix the problem. So every time you build an app, so Gradle build or you will change any code in the application. So in your application, if you have changed any code changes, you will build an app. So it means you will build, Gradle build will be done. So every time you Gradle build, you need to run unit test so that if you can catch or fix the problems if any problems or catches occurs. Okay. See, for example, in this unit testing, okay, so for example, so if you are unit testing a class, so if it means that for any particular class you are going to do unit testing, your test might check that class is a right state. So it means first it is going to check whether that particular class is in a right state or not. Or for a method, it tests its behavior for different values of parameter. See, for any particular method you are going to do unit testing, it checks that but it is behaving properly or not. For what it will check for different values of its parameter, especially null. Likewise, it is going to check. And one more thing, so there is a framework called mocking. So there is a framework called mocking framework, such as, so the framework is mocking framework. For that, we call it as a Mockito. So Mockito, 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 where this Mockito is used to isolate unit test from its dependency. So this Mockito, the framework where it is used to isolate the unit from its dependency. If it is any dependencies, it is going to isolate the things. So we can write our unit test for Android. We can write our unit test for Android in JUnit 4. Okay, in JUnit 4, where this JUnit 4 is for a common unit testing framework for Java code. JUnit 4 is a common unit testing framework for a Java code. So next is Android testing support library. Android testing support library. To test our Android application, there will be a library where it supports for the testing purpose. Okay. So the Android testing support library provides infrastructure and APIs. So this library provides the infrastructure and APIs. Why this infrastructure and APIs will be providing? To test your Android applications. Okay. To test your Android application. So as I said, it supports also JUnit 4. So JUnit 4 is a unit testing framework for a Java. Okay. So with the testing support library, so what you can do with the testing support library, where you can build, run the test code for your applications. Okay. So to check the Android support repositories, you need to follow this. So in the Android Studio, choose Tools, Android SDK Manager. Then click on the Select Tools tab. There you will be you can see the list of support repositories. So if necessary to update any of the libraries, or it is necessary to install any of the libraries, you can update it. So let's see how to check in these steps in the Android Studio. So what you need to do? You need to go for a Tools. Then you need to go for SDK Manager. So you will get a list here. It supports SDK. So here you have a SDK tools. Okay, here you have a SDK tools. So you can see the support repo. These are all the support repositories. Okay. So if you need any of these repositories, then you click enable and apply. Then it is going to download and it is going to install. See, for example, I have see here for this status C for the Android SDK build tool update is available, but it is installed, but it is updation is available for this particular repository, and these are all not installed. So if it is necessary, then only install the repositories. So here in my Android Studio, Android SDK build, Android emulator, and SDK platform are available. So if I click these two and I will click apply, so it will ask the following components will be installed. Disk usage. So estimated download size will be shown here. Click OK. So if you click accept, next, so it will start going to start download and it is going to install the repositories. If it is necessary, then we need to do that. Okay. This is how you need to check with the. So next is setting up testing. How you need to test. So we know that. So testing types of testing, where this testing will be located, where you are going to get the support libraries for the testing purpose, we have seen now. So now, how to set for testing? How you need to test? How you need to set up for testing? Okay. So to prepare your project for testing in Android Studio, okay, we need to organize. What you need to organize? Organize your tests in a source set, and you need to configure the project Gradle dependencies, include the test related APIs also. So these things we need to do for setting up a test. So let's see one by one. So what is this Android Studio source sets? Okay. So what is this source set? So source sets are a collection of related code in the project, so that are different build targets or other flavors of your app. Okay. So source sets are a collection of related code in the project. Just remember, source set means it's a collection of related project in the collect related code in the project where it has a different build targets. Okay, it has a different build target. So when Android Studio creates your project, so in Android Studio you are going to create your project, right? So as soon as it creates a project, so this Android Studio creates three source sets. Okay, so by default the Android Studio creates three source sets. The first one is main source set, test source set, Android test source set. Okay, the main source set is for apps code and resources. Okay, the test source set for your app's local unit test, and Android tests is for instrumented test. So as I say, explained in the testing types of testing, local unit test and instrument test. So local unit test for a test source set. So Android instrumented test will is for Android test source set. Okay, this will be running on local machine. This will be running on device or emulate. Okay, so how it is going to appear in Android Studio? The source set is appear in Android Studio view under the package name of your app. So let's see in the Android Studio itself how it is going to apply. For example, I have created a calculator app. Okay. Okay, sorry, that's still installing. It takes time. Okay, I will show in the PPT itself. See here. So there is an Android view here. So in the Android view, okay. So this is a package. Under the package name, your app will be there. Your app will be there. So it includes, see, within the Java, inside the Java folder, you will be having a main source set. This is the main source set. Okay, this is main source set, and this is Android test. So that is Android source set. Okay, and next one is this test. So that belongs to the test source set. Okay, this is how when your Android Studio uh, creates a source set when the project is created. Okay. Next, so we have known with the source set. So how the configure Gradle for test dependencies? How we need to configure the Gradle for test dependencies? To use unit testing APIs, we need to configure the dependencies for the project. We need to configure the dependencies for the projects. Okay. So there will be a default Gradle build file for the projects included. So as soon as your Android Studio creates a project with all the sources, there will be a default Gradle file will be there where it includes some of the dependencies. So by default, there will be some of the dependencies. So if it is other than that default dependencies is necessary for our application, then we can add more dependencies for additional testing features. Okay, where additional testing features such as matching or mocking framework. Mockito, what I said, the Mockito, that is mocking framework or any matching. Okay, so by default, there will be dependencies for a testing in the Gradle build file. So if we want to do any additional testing, then we can add more dependencies. Okay. So if Android Studio reports newer library, update the number to reflect the current version. So it means that if the Android support tells that there is a newer library, then we need to update all those things to the current versions of the Android Studio. So after your add dependencies, so if you have add dependencies to a build.gradle file, you may have to sync your project. So it means that so whatever the changes you made, whatever the things you add, so if you add any dependencies or if you make any changes in your code, so you should sync your project to the Gradle grid file. Okay, whatever the see in this configure Gradle test to dependencies. So if you want any additional testing features, you can add dependencies. So if you add any additional dependencies to your build.gradle file, then we need to sync the project to connect. Okay, so this may be the additional dependency. So that is JUnit framework, AMP test matches, Mockito framework. These three additional dependencies have been added as an example. So next is configure test runner. So how you need to configure it to run a test. Okay. So a test runner is a library or a set of tools that enables testing to occur and the results to be printed to the log. So it's a library. So test runner will be a library or a tool where to enables testing to occur and results to be printed. Okay. So as soon as you start a test, it should run the test. So test should going to run on the code what you have to test it. Okay. So likewise, test runner is a library where this test runner helps to test to occur that particular test and the result to be printed to a log. So the Android test support library includes test runner for instrumented. Okay, so this support library includes test runner tool for the instrumented test and Espresso test, Android JUnit test also supports JUnit 3 and 4. Okay, so this Android test support library includes instrumented, Espresso, Android JUnit runner, and also JUnit 3 and 4. So how you are going to set the Android JUnit runner as a default test runner? So as a default test runner, how you are going to set it? Okay, so in the build.gradle file, so in the build.gradle file, we need to add the dependencies. Okay, we need to add the library dependency. How you are going to add? So there will be an Android. Within that Android, there will be default config. There you need to add test instrumentation runner with the following package, Android JUnit runner. Okay, so this is a support library where it is present in this particular package. Okay, it is particular package. So this is a support library where it is particular package. Next is creating and running unit test. So what is creating and running? As the name itself says, first you need to create the unit test and then you need to run that particular unit test to test against on your code. So create your unit test as a generic Java file. So how you are going to create? By using a JUnit 4 APIs and whatever you have been created, that is to be stored those tests in test source set. Okay, you need to store that in test source set. So where it means you need to store here. You need to store test source set. Here you need to store it. Okay. So next, each Android Studio project template includes source set, sample Java, test file, example, unit test. Okay. So each project will be having like this. Each project will be having, see here, like this. That is a file. Yes. Next is create a new test class. Okay. To create new test class file and where you need to create that, we need to add that created new file class test class file, a Java file to the test source set for your project. Okay, your project you need to add the Java file as a to the test source. Next, test class files for unit testing are typically named for the class in your app. So that are with the test appended. So whatever the name will be there for that name, whatever the file you will create it will append as a test. Test word will be appended for the particular test file name. Okay. To add a new test class file, we need to follow the steps. Okay. First, expand the Java folder and the folder for your app's test source set. Right click on the test source set folder. Select new Java class. Name the file and click OK. Okay, let's see how to create that. See here, what the step says. See, this will be like this. Your Android package will be like this in the Android view. Okay, your will be folder. So there will be a Java folder. See, there will be three folders. That is, one is for source set, that is instrumented test. This is unit. Okay. So what you have to do? So expand the new class test file. So where? So here there is an existing file. Okay, there is an existing file that is a unit test. So if you want to create one more test, so right click here, go for a new and create Java class and give a name, whatever you want to give a name. And if you are on the class, press enter. See, the test class is created. So if you want to add like this also, you can create a new test. Okay, and click OK. Where you want to add class, click OK. See, in two ways. So here you can right click new Java class. You can go like that, or in the main activity what you have been created on that particular. If you want to create test on the particular method, keep the cursor on that particular method. Select Control Shift and T. It will ask for a create a new class like that. Okay, so then you can create the test. Okay. See here. This is how you are going to create a new test. So write your test. Okay. So when you are writing a test, we need to use JUnit 4 syntax. Okay, we need to use JUnit 4 syntax and annotations to write your test. So when we are writing a test, so we need to use the syntax app for JUnit and we need to use annotations. So for example, so in this example, at the rate run with. So the what this annotation indicates means test runner that should be used for the tests in the classes. So it's a test runner where that particular class should be used in the test. So next annotation is at the rate small test indicates that it's a small test. So this code will be of a small test. So next is at the rate before annotation. So it is being to set up for the test. It is going to be method that is to be set up for the test. And this at the rate test. So this is the method where it is going to be actual test will be taken. Okay, with actual test will be taken. So in this example, the add two numbers method is only the actual test. So this is the only the actual test. So in this test, that is key part of this unit test. So in this, the key part of this unit test is the assertion. Okay, in this actual test, the key part will be of assertion. So what is assertion? So it means that which is defined here by assert method. So assertion is being defined with the assert that method. So what is this assertion? So assertion are an expression. So that must evaluate and result in value of true of the test to be passed. It means that this assertion will be having an expression where that expression should have a value evaluate. This expression must be evaluated, and whatever the result for that expression in the value should be of true for that particular test. Okay, so here JUnit 4, whatever the JUnit 4 is there, where that JUnit 4 provides number of assertion methods. So this JUnit 4 has number of assertion methods. So whereas this assert that method will be of one of the flexible method. So compared to others, and assert that will be of a flexible method. So here in this example, add two numbers method. So in this particular example, this method, that is add two numbers method, will be having only one assertion, that is assert that method. So the general rule for unit test is to provide separate test method for every individual assertion. So it means that general rule in unit testing there is a general rule. So what is the general rule means? We need to provide separate test. It means so if you want to test for a particular method for addition, then you need to provide the separate test on every individual assertion. So if you want to provide make a test on a subtraction, for example, if you want to test a method that is called as a subtraction, then you need to provide separate test method for each individual assertion. Next is run your test. Okay, so to run your local unit test, we need to use these steps. To run a single test, right click that test method and select run. Okay, or if you want to test all the methods in the test class, right click the test file and in the project view and select run. If you want to run all tests in a directory, then right click on the directory and select run tests. So how to do that? So if you go in the Android Studio, so first is to run a single test, right click on the test method and run. So if you want here, right click. So here to test all methods, right click on the test file, project view and run test. So it will be going to run. So if you want to click on the whole directory, then you go here and right click. So in the particular directory, go. Wait, it's running. Please wait. Okay, if you want to run, right click. So run test for all directory. You can run the test like this. So it's still Gradle build is running. So here it will be the test results. See, you can see the test results over here. Where I started running test. So test runs on completion. See, as soon as the Gradle build, so addition is correct. Process finished with the exit 0.